Hi everyone, it's Neve here and welcome to the ScrapFX YouTube channel. Today we're going to be making a magical birthday 12 by 12 layout using the new June releases, which is all sort of birthday party and party themed chipboards. So for this I'm just starting off with some of my photos. I've just cut them down. One's a 6 by 4 and one's just a little bit smaller. One of my daughter's 3rd birthday. And the papers I'm using for a change aren't basic grey, they're actually some Simple Story papers, and these are actually a birthday party kit or a set that came together, which was really handy doing this page because I really didn't have that many coordinating papers or a birthday things in my stash, so having a kit like that worked really well. So I'm starting off with this stripy paper and just matting my photos up with it. I just use double-sided sticky tape to stick down my photos. I'm a bit old school. I still prefer using a craft knife than a trimmer. I don't know why, but it just seems to work out better for me. So the paper I've got in the background has got the lyrics to Happy Birthday on it and there's stars down the bottom. And as I was playing around, it was just a really happy accident because I was playing around and the stars sort of tipped out near this paper, and they're actually a perfect fit and they fit beautifully onto the different stars down the bottom. So I thought I'd use them as a frame just to make those stars really pop off the page. So I'm just using one of the coordinating papers just as a bit of a strip across the background to ground my photo so they've got something to sit on, and just working out where I want to glue it all down with the chipboard that I'm using, so Magical Birthday, because of course when you're 3 you have to have a cat face and you have to have a unicorn cake. So she's very excited about it all. I was playing around with these balloons, trying to put them on because balloons are huge in our house at the moment, and she did get a Olaf balloon for her birthday, but in the end they just didn't quite work because the writing on the beautiful is so fine. I thought it would get lost on the photos with all the detail, and to emboss them or paint them it would just be really fiddly. So I'm going to leave those to make some birthday cards up, I think, and have some sort of plain or patterned paper I think in the background and use those on that page. So you can see here me sort of working out where I want to put everything on my page and just trying it out, and I really loved how the little stars sort of went into the centres and just sort of filled it out a little bit and added a little bit of extra detail to the page. This is a really simple layout in the end, not too much goes on to this, but sometimes simple is good. Sometimes all you have time for is simple. So I quite like keeping my pages simple, and in the end the audience for these pages are my daughters, so she was really happy with this. This is up in her bedroom. We get a new layout each month, so I've got a little layout frame holder that sits up in her bedroom and she chooses which one she wants to put in it for the month. So here I'm just embossing the chipboard with some gold embossing powder. I really wasn't sure what colour I wanted to do these, so I actually tried out gold and black. In the end I go with the black because it just popped off the page a lot more than the gold. The gold blended in too much, particularly with that cream background. So it worked out that using the black was the best option. So here you've got an awful lot of me embossing, which is really fun to watch. But you'll notice when I'm doing it, first of all, that was a brand new Versamite pad. You can see there straight away that the black just fills that page much better. So I'm cheating slightly here. Instead of re-embossing it, I'm going over with black powder, and I just put 2 coats on just to get rid of the gold, which makes it a little bit thicker than the other ones, but it's okay in the end. The reason I did that was I only had that limited amount of stars and I needed as many of them as possible to use as a frame. So I'm just using my craft knife, you can see me sort of going around it to trim off any extra. So to emboss, or to have the most success embossing, you need a few things. First of all, you need a really juicy embossing ink pad, and you can see there I'm using a VersaFine pad. It's actually a brand new pad, so it's really juicy. You can see that there's some black lines going on it. That's just the edges of the laser cut. It doesn't hurt the embossing ink in any way, shape or form, it just leaves a bit of a mark on it. If you're really concerned about it, you can get a wet wipe and wipe it off afterwards, but you may find you need to re-ink your pad a little bit more often if you do that. The other thing you'll see is me holding my heat gun quite close and not moving it around too much. Even with the more powerful heat guns, I still tend to hold my heat tool quite close to them, and the reason for that is it melts the powder really quickly without the ink underneath drying out. So the quicker you can do it, the better it is. Now all I'm going in is some iridescent shred glitter to just add a little bit of sparkle to the page. We're talking about a magical birthday, so I wanted to look a little bit magical with the sparkle on it. I'm just going back and reheating the two pieces that I did previously and going back and sprinkling in the sparkle. So that's another trick that I use, is when I'm working with embossing powder, instead of adding lots of layers of the embossing ink, I reheat it so the embossing powder itself is remelted and then just stick to that. And you find you get a better stick. If you use the embossing ink all the time, that's when things start to sort of crack and peel a little bit, because you've got this layer of ink in between thin layers of plastic. So once I was happy with where my stars were going, I'm just using some Connect glue, which is by Gina K. It's basically a PVA glue, but it's just in a really cool little pen that makes it a lot easier to apply, and just gluing down my stars to the page. If you find that some of the embossing powder has got onto the back and it's a little bit lumpy and bumpy, you can just trim the excess off with a craft knife so it sits nice and flat on your page. That one at the end was a little bit lumpy and bumpy because that's the one that had the gold on it, so it just had a few layers. So once I cleaned that up, now I'm going in with the black again, because I really like the effect of that with the sparkles over it, and doing my magical birthday. So again with this, just tapping it in. I always put more embossing powder out than I actually need. It all goes back into the jar in the end, you're not going to waste it. And again, holding my heat gun fairly still until it melts and then moving it around. Any bits that weren't really covered, I'm just dipping in again. And you'll see me at the end, I think the M or the little loop didn't get all the covering it's supposed to, so I just dip that little bit in and make sure it's all sorted. And then sprinkling the glitter over the top. You do get a little bit of glitter around your desk when you're doing this. I'm still finding some a few days later, so just make sure you wipe down fairly well while you're doing it, and it should be not an issue. The shred glitter is a little bit easier to pick up, so it makes it a bit easier in the end. So this is pretty much it for the page. As I was doing it, I decided to just need a little bit more. I didn't add on the journaling. I found some of these stickers and just did two little clusters of stickers next to the magical birthday. You can see the glitter in the close-ups, but that was pretty much it. So I hope this has inspired you to do something with your chipboard or a layout similar. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bye for now.